Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bars and Blueprints. And today we have a very special guest. It is Serenity Haes. Welcome, Serenity. How are you doing? Introduce yourself and tell us more about yourself.
Hello. I'm a vocalist. I'm based out of Portland, Oregon, or Vancouver, Washington, depending on which one you know of. I work with a lot of underground rappers. I also make my own music as well. And I just got into sampling about 2 years ago and got the amazing opportunity to work with a lot of artists through that. But yeah, pretty much it.
Perfect. Zay, do you want to start off?
So, when Suicide Boys first reached out to you about using your vocals in New World Depression, what was your immediate reaction when you got that confirmation?
I've actually talked about this before. So I met Dinox, who is one of the producers for the boys, in a Discord server. And he and I made a song together. And then a couple months later, or weeks later, he was like, hey, do you want to do samples for Suicide Boys? And I was just like, okay, but I don't know what samples are. And I don't think I know who Suicide Boys are. So it was really cool to kind of dive into something that I've never done, which is sampling. And I think a lot of people still don't know about that or what that even is. So we made a couple of samples. They got sent off. They love them. And then I've been working with them ever since. And now I know who they are. And they're amazing. And they're such great people to work for. So I feel very blessed.
That's awesome. How many samples have you done for them?
So currently I have done one sample for Rose in the Vase in New World Depression, and I've done Demo Demon in, I believe that was in Lonely Boy.
Yes.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, those are the two, and I continue to send in to this day, so we'll see, what happens in the future.
Yeah.
But
So, how many samples did you send in on, are you going to see the Rose in the Vase or Dust on the Table? Like, how many did it really take before?
That was an interesting one. So that sample, I actually sent in with, I think, like 6 others. So I didn't really understand what sampling was. I didn't know kind of like how fast I was able to produce them. So I was just kind of sending like little spurts of things, like maybe 3 at a time, 6 at a time. And I think at that point I had probably sent in about 20 total, and that was one of the 20. And when I sent it in, I got no response. So Dinox didn't say anything. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep sending them, even if, something doesn't happen, that's just kind of how sampling is. And then the day before the song drops, I get a message, hey, our song's coming out tomorrow. And I was like, oh, cool. And I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard the song yet. So it was kind of a surprise to me. But
That's
it was
really
super
cool.
cool.
That's awesome.
I would have expected, months or something in advance, but the day before is really cool.
Yeah, honestly. And I mean, at the time, because I wasn't really associated with Suicide Boys yet. I had listened to their music, but I still wasn't aware of what the fan base was and how big they were in the industry. So when it dropped and they gave me a shout out at the concert, that was actually the moment where I kind of was like, oh, wow, people really are interested to know about this and really love the song. So I think when the song dropped, it honestly wasn't something where I felt like, oh, this is the moment. But when I got the shout out and saw the aftermath of that was when it really clicked in my head, oh, wow, this is such a crazy opportunity that so many people dream of. And I just happened to kind of stumble into it, right place, right time. So very cool.
That's so insane to just think that you kind of stumbled into it and where it's gotten you.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad about it because I see so many people who tell me oh, that would be my dream, that would make my life, and I sat there not knowing them. So I just, I feel so incredibly blessed, but sometimes I do feel a little bit of that imposter syndrome of should I be the one that's like working right now, or should it be someone else who like this would be their entire life and they would feel like their life was their purpose was succeeded, in placing this. So
Yeah.
How different is creating vocal or samples for Grade 5-9 compared to writing for your own projects?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think being a vocalist, like the biggest thing that I try to do is go with the references. And then if there is kind of like an open-ended, like, hey, like we just need anything, I do tend to stick to a specific style of lyrics for G5-9 music or just underground music in general. I try to go more with like darker topics, sad stuff. Trying to think like how to put it into words. There are different styles of melodies that I feel fit a little bit better sometimes. And of course, it's always up to them and what they're feeling. We send in, I think last year I sent in probably 100 or more samples. And
Wow.
I didn't make anything on last year's stuff. So like that just shows like how much work people are putting in. I mean,
It's a lot
if you
of
guys know
dedication.
Justin, yeah, if you know Justin, he sent over 200 beats. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. 1 beat a day. Like
Oh,
people,
wow.
like we are really grinding this type of stuff. And so
Yeah.
when you're making so many, I mean, you do tend to stick to like one specific type of style. And lyrics wise, I try to stick with a theme, depending on what they're looking for in that moment. But it all kind of blends together because you are kind of doing a lot of the same things and then trying different stuff and different sounds. You have happy, you have sad. So I don't know. It's kind of all over the place now that I think about it more. Yeah.
So-
For my own stuff. Oh, sorry.
No, continue.
For my own stuff, though, I would say my own music is kind of like my diary. So I try to focus more on what I'm personally going through and what I'm feeling and thinking. And then if any of those songs are also align with what I think they'd be looking for, I will sample that, send it over. But yeah, my stuff is usually like a diary, like everything I'm going through or feeling, or if I'm like experimenting or collabing with other people, then that kind of ties into it too.
How do you feel that you're like affiliated with like the biggest rap artists in the world right now?
Oh gosh.
Your
Man.
vocals have been streamed millions of times. How does that feel?
Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of, I don't know. I think for me, because I know that I'm just, some girl in Portland, Oregon who happened to throw the right sample at the right time. It's kind of hard for me to feel like this is my accomplishment because I am being sampled from such a big artist. So I don't know. It's a mix of emotions. Like I feel very proud of myself, but also kind of like I don't deserve all of the hype because, oh yeah, it's such a tough one. But being a part of this scene has just been so nice. Like everybody in their fan base has been nothing but kind to me. And the fact that they remember my name, like they're like, is Serenity on the next album? I'm like, you guys still remember me? Like that's kind of crazy that my name is still in your brain,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Have you ever ghostwritten or anything like that for any tracks that we may not know? Like even outside of the G5-9 community?
Ghostwriting would be just lyrics, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
From what I know.
I don't think so. I've had some people reach out to me to ask for ghostwriting, but personally, I just have a really hard time with it. I mean, since almost all of my music is my own experience, it'd be hard for me to write for someone else's experience. I do have a hard time with trying to write for others because I end up just like writing whatever I'm feeling, and then yeah, that's pretty much how it goes for my process. But
What is something technical, something unique about your vocal process that a lot of people wouldn't like connect? People wouldn't put like, oh, she's using this plugin or she's using this. Any kind of unique things like that?
I would say the way that I sing is very specific. So when you're doing the style of vocals that I do, it's very breathy and it's very soft. And there are times where I have to re-record some stuff because I'm like, okay, I want my voice to be more breathy in this specific part. I even think about like, how am I pronouncing something? Like sometimes it's purposeful, sometimes it happens on accident. So I would say the recording process for sure. I mean, as a vocalist, I'm sure other vocalists will understand what I mean when I say that. Like the way that you pronounce things and the breath that goes into it with my style, like that soft, breathy stuff, it is a conscious thing. Even though it does come naturally to me, sometimes I do have to re-record if I feel like it's not in that style.
Did you have an inspiration for that sound, like going into music?
That's a good question. I think the two artists that I get the most compared to would be Billie Eilish, which also has that really soft, melodic style of music, and then also Clairo, I think, because she does a lot of that like singer-songwriter style. And the third one would be Alina Perez. She's a R&B artist, also very soft, breathy vocals. But I would say Billie is what I get the most. And yeah, I would say I take inspiration from her 100%. She's an amazing lyricist, and the way that she records, you'll watch videos of her recording process and it's just so fascinating. She does the same things that I do, which I think is so cool to watch like someone else relate. I'm like, yes, I'm like, me too. The way that she does her takes.
Are most of your recordings done in a professional setting or in-home studios?
I actually really don't like recording in studios. It's just really hard because when you record at home, you can be comfortable. Like, your stuff, your setup. My microphone, I know exactly where to sit if I want a specific sound. I know how to set up all the settings the way that I like it. And when you go into studios, I'm one of the few artists that record in FL Studio, which is kind of a downside because most studios don't have FL already downloaded, and if they do and you're working on a Mac laptop, all the shortcuts are different, so that can be even tough too. So yeah.
So when building a loop for producers, do you start with the lyrics or the melody first?
Ooh, that's also a good question. I want to say both, because there are times where I'll get a loop. I was working on a loop yesterday with Dillex, and I would get the loop, and we had what the reference was, so I have that in mind. And if the reference calls for a specific style of melody, then I'll take the melody first. But if it's more open-ended, I kind of do go with the lyrics. It's always the first lyric that is the most important to me, that will set the tone for the rest of whatever it is I'm recording. So that first lyric, that first sentence for me should be the most emotionally drawing one, because that is what the listener is going to hear within the first 3 seconds. So the first lyric is the most important. If it's a reference, I do start with the melody just to try to match with whatever we're trying to achieve.
So continuing into that, looking back at like your previous studio albums and stuff like that, what is something you would do differently now?
If I look back at, I released my first project, I think in 2023, 2022, somewhere around there. You always listen back to your old stuff and you think, man, like if I knew what I knew now, like that quality would have been different. So I think the biggest difference I see in my old stuff versus now is the quality of the recording, making sure that you're not too close, not too far, making sure you're pronouncing things. I had a hard time in my earlier music, pronouncing things very clearly, and then also lyrics. Like, there is a very big difference between a lyric that will sound corny versus a lyric with depth. And I think lyrically, that's probably the most growth that I've seen in myself, is just understanding how to not sound corny, messing around with different types of new words, new rhymes, and different melody types has helped with that as well. But I'd say that's the biggest difference.
If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Let me think. I would say collaborate more. Yeah. I mean, it's really a process. Like, looking back, like, I was in the right places at the right time for where I am at now. Would I have gone back and changed that? I don't think so. Could I have maybe moved quicker in that process or developed skills faster? I think so. Like, if I went back and I like told myself, like, hey, try to focus more on your lyrics and try to figure out how to record better and talk to these people. But I don't know, like, I really do enjoy just the process of learning and the journey that I've gone through in the last 2 years, seeing the growth. It's just so fun. So I don't know.
How many takes does it usually take before you feel like you've captured like the right sample and or the right emotion for that sample?
It really depends.
Really depends.
It depends. I'd say, so when I'm recording, I usually do about 6 to 10 takes of the same vocal. And I'll comp them. So if you don't know what vocal comping is, it's essentially where you take multiple takes. So out of those 10, I'll listen to each word one at a time. I'll pick the best recording of that word, splice them all together, and then that is what creates the sample. So I would say about like 6 to 10 is the number that I shoot for, and then I'll go and comp them and then put them all together.
That's crazy.
So how is working and collaborating with G59, has that changed your approach to your own music?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So the producers that I work with, we're all working together. It's all a collaborative effort. And there's about 20 to 25 of us now. It keeps like growing, and then it will, some people will not have enough time or life comes in the way, and then we'll grow again. But some of the people that I've met in there have like directly put me in a different path. One person, his name is Camus, amazing producer. He told me one day, he said, have you tried grunge? And because we had made this grunge sample, and it was so amazing. It was so amazing. Don't know what will happen with it, but we made it. And I was just like, like, I've never tried grunge. Like, are you sure? And he's like, dude, I think this is your genre. He's like, you need to get into this. Like, just go make a grunge song. So I did, and then I ended up making an entire grunge album because I loved it so much. And if I wasn't working with that team of people, I would have never got into grunge music. And now I listen to grunge music when I never did before. So it really opened up.
Awesome.
I know. I know. I mean, you could tell. Like, I must not be super explorative or whatever, but. No, I'm very thankful for him pushing me into the grunge scene.
For sure. What is a solo track that you feel like is like the most core version of you, the most raw you?
It's so hard. Whenever people ask me what my favorite song is or my best song is, it's always usually one of the most recent releases. So I would say my track, What Did I Do to You, is probably one of my most emotionally like in-depth songs. While writing it, while producing it, I mean, I made it and I was like, yep, like this is the one. And it really shaped the entire album, What If, that I have up right now. So I would say that one for sure.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned since your first major placement?
Oh, great question. Biggest lesson that I've learned? Oh, it's my biggest lesson. Music is a business, And as much fun as it is to hang out with people and create relationships, that is so important. At the end of the day, like, we are all working, and I think treating those relationships in a business and friend way is super important. Like, you don't want to come off in a wrong way. You always want to be very respectful. You want to be very kind to everybody you meet. Like, you don't know who's right in front of you. You know, you might go to a producer camp, which I went to in LA, right? And you might see a guy in the corner and he might look a little, you know, out of the box or something. And you might sit there, you might sit there and be like, I don't want to talk to that guy. But you have no idea who he is, who he could know. So in a business standpoint, just be kind to everybody. And of course, in a personal like aspect, not even business, just be kind. You know, you never know who people are. When you're in that work environment, you just always want to be nice. You want to be respectful. Treat it like a job. You know, you don't want to be going into sessions like just not in a respectful mindset. I would say like that would be my biggest lesson. And verse yourself on financial contracts. That is also a big one too, because this may be a lovely form of self-expression in art, but at the end of the day, you do deserve to, you know, get paid. I mean, that's what we're doing. It's a job, and you have to be knowledgeable about what you feel you're worth and what the market goes for, and talking to lawyers, and make sure that you have yourself covered so that you get a good deal, a good contract. And
especially in the music business. I know the music business is notorious for people getting screwed out of everything.
Yeah. And you see a lot of people, you know, who are very young, and they'll go into contracts and they'll look back at it later in life and think, you know, what was I doing? So the best thing I can say is ask questions, go to people that you know. If you know anybody who has done anything in music, ask them, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And what's your advice on how I can best, you know, email these people and talk to them in the right terms? If you're not knowledgeable about what everything means, there are tons of online resources, and you can also hire yourself someone to do it for you. And depending on what your means are.
Yeah. Going off that question, what's something young artists misunderstand about getting placements?
Misunderstand? I would say a lot. I do talk to a lot of people, especially online, because we have such a big online, you know, scene on Discord, and being able to join all these production servers. I think a lot of young people might think like, hey, if I send 50 samples to this one really big producer, then I still have a shot. But like the reality is you should be sending to 10 a day. You should be sending to, you know, every single day, sending to all these different people. Send the same thing to 10 different people. And someone at the camp that I was just at in LA, Cobbie's camp, they were like, whenever you send something out, it's a lottery ticket, right? You don't know if it's ever going to get placed. You don't know if something's going to happen with it, but there's nothing stopping you from buying more. So buy more, do as much as you can. Go on Instagram, look at the producers who are following the producers that you love, and try to, you know, go down the grapevine through social media and just send them a DM. You know, if you meet someone in person, get their phone number. Phone numbers usually work the best for most people. Just send them out. Just whoever you can find or see, even if there's someone that isn't big or is actively, you know, working on something but hasn't had anything come out yet. You never know what could happen. We don't know who the next generation artist will be. So,
are there any kind of tools that a young, say, producer or vocalist or something like that could use to get into sending samples, like an example, like a mail list or like a find me producer website kind of thing?
I would say personally, what has helped me the most, I'm actually teaching a camp locally over here in Portland I believe in April, about this exact same topic, just how to do samples, how to reach out to people, how to get involved in the sample scene. The best thing that I honestly can recommend is go on Spotify, find your favorite artists. They can be huge, they can be small, and then scroll down to, it's either, I forgot what the thing is, but artists who are similar page. So go to artists who are similar. And if you still feel like, okay, these numbers are a bit too intimidating, like I don't know if this person's going to see this, go to their artists who are similar. And pretty soon you're going to start like trickling down to someone who might be at like the stage where they're just starting out, you know, they have like 50 monthly listeners. And I would go and DM that person. Of course, DM all the big people too. You never know what can happen. But if you're looking to collaborate, I mean, the best place to start is with people who sound similar to the people you want to work with. So if you want to work with Suicide Boys, for example, I would go and find someone who's making similar style of music and send to them on Instagram, shoot your shot. And then if you're able to place with them, you know, they might reach out to another producer who does something similar, and eventually you might end up in the right place. So I would say Spotify, similar artists is where I would go.
Some wisdom.
Okay.
I know a lot of people don't know about that. I would say I message about 3 people on Instagram a day, like
Oh, wow.
new artists. Yeah, like either I do now that my Instagram has kind of been spying on me and knows that I'm looking for those new artists, they start suggesting it. So now I get like, I think I had 10 DMs that I sent 2 days ago while I was just scrolling through reels, because every other reel was a new artist, whether they were small or big. And I would just DM each and every one of them, and I would say, hey, you know, I loved this reel. Like, I would love to work together. You know, here's the stuff that I do. Let me send you some things. And I think out of 10, I usually get responses from like at least half, you know.
Is there like a sweet spot number you kind of go for with artists? Like, oh, they're too small, or oh, they're way too big. Is there any kind of thing like that, or do you just say you miss every shot you don't take?
I say message everybody. The only reason I mention the numbers thing is because when you're just starting out, you might have a hard time, you know, if you DM Tory Lanez, like the probability of him seeing that is pretty low. But if you DM someone that has less than 5,000 followers, you know, just started their music career, they have like 100 to 500 monthly listeners, your chances are exponential now, because this person is probably not getting 25 plus, you know, DMs a day. So you'd be able to get spotted a little bit easier. But for me, like now with where I'm at, I don't think about it. If I see someone that I think I would be able to work with and I would fit with, I message them, you know, because you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
A great mentality.
Yeah. What's one collaboration you've done that would surprise listeners?
You know, I don't know if I can talk about it yet.
Okay.
This year, I will say that this year is a big year. I do have a lot of things coming. I'm very excited for the people that I'm working with. I would say stay tuned for that
Okay.
question.
Okay.
Okay.
Going into the next year, does it, I know you say going to be big. Do you mean big as in a lot of drops, a lot of new stuff, a lot of development, new sounds, or a lot of collaborations, or what kind of can we poke around and see for the next year?
I'd say all of the above.
All of the above.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes, I will be.
Very exciting.
Yes, hopefully new artists. You know, new artists dropping with different. A lot of sampling. I'll say that. A lot of sampling. My own music. I have a lot planned. I'm very excited. A lot of collaborations with other artists regarding my music as well. But yeah, I would say kind of everything for this year. I'm excited. And also, I might be moving to LA in September. I have not fully decided yet, but if that ends up happening, that will also probably be a very big shift.
That'll be very cool. Are there any genres that, like you talked about going into grunge and how you would have never expected to go into grunge? Are there any genres that are piquing your interest right now? Something different that the listeners maybe wouldn't ever expect, straight out of left field, you know?
I would say for my own music, I'm not sure if I have anything yet that will be extremely different from anything that I've put out. For sampling, yeah, I would say there might be like a couple genres that will be a little bit different than what I've been doing, but
So
it
very
also
big
depends
year.
on yeah, it depends on the artist too. You know, you don't know what people are gonna do with your stuff, so it'll be. I'm very excited to see
Oh yeah,
what
it's
people end up doing.
it's a very exciting thing to hear. I mean, I'm I don't know. I'm very excited to see where it goes and see what new comes out. I mean, it's ever growing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Dill?
I don't think so. Anything else, Serenity, that we missed?
I don't think so. Go stream the new albums. You
Good
know,
stream
Yep,
new
go
albums.
if
stream
you
it.
haven't listened to them, they are so good. And
Oh, they're
just
amazing.
seeing all my friends succeed, man, it makes me so happy. I mean, everybody who was on that album worked so hard. It was so deserved. So yeah, if you haven't listened to them, go and do that. It's amazing.
Well, thank you for your
Thank
time,
you so
Serenity.
much.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And please follow Serenity Haes on Spotify and on Instagram. Thank you for watching.